yo, are you seeing one at the moment? When you getting married? When you popping out those babies and stuff like that? And I'm like, okay, I hope that what I'm saying does not sound controversial, but like, I'm staying true to that. I am never, never, ever gonna compromise that for anyone. Even though I love that person with my whole heart, if they like cannot, if I'm going to be totally honest with you guys, like I think I maybe sometimes mentioned it, but I actually also think like I'm now in a time of my life that I really need to focus on myself. And I think the universe and like God also knows that. Either I just wait until I do something fun, or I just, you know, and be like, fuck it, I'm gonna just make a be real in Hi guys, and welcome back to a new video. Today I have another get ready with me for you guys. As you guys can see, I just did my hair, just straightened it really, and did my makeup, just the usual, you know, like as you can see by the title, I have a bunch of topics to talk about again, and I really feel like I've also gone a bit more personal in this get ready with me once again, because I sometimes do really like that, just, you know, talking about random stuff, and sometimes I just get too personal. But I also know when to, like, you know, I also know when I should not be doing that. So, but yeah, this is definitely going to be a long video, so either grab something to drink, grab a snack and enjoy this video, or grab your makeup if you want to do your makeup together with me. And yeah, let's get on with this video. Okay, so I'm first gonna go and do my hair. I was really contemplating what to do with my hair, but I'm just gonna straighten it, I guess. I thought, let me do a bun, but at the same time, I still need to finish this TikTok that I've been like starting with like a month ago. Maybe less than a month, I don't know. And I actually don't want to put my hair up for it because it's like another getting a makeover in Korea type of TikTok. And I do want to like have my hair like, you know, loose so you can like see. Because I really feel like if I put it up in a bun, then what's the point? So, okay, let me just turn on this thing first. Okay, whilst my straightener is heating up, I'm just gonna put in some setting spray. Heat protectant spray, that's what I'm gonna do. I washed my hair yesterday, so it's now looking fresh and good, and I'm gonna ruin it by straightening it, but oh well. This time I do have some topics prepared. Did I also do that with the last time? I think so, yeah, because yeah, I definitely did, and I really found it really helped to have like topics prepared instead of doing a get ready with me and being like, okay, what am I gonna talk about? But at the same time, I also like them spontaneous get ready with me's, so maybe I should do one like that again soon. I don't know if I'll still be doing a get ready with me before I go back, because literally from now I'm gonna be returning to the Netherlands in a month, which is so crazy. Like, can we remember the times like when I just arrived and stuff? It's so crazy. This is gonna be an interesting get ready with me, if you can see by the title. I really feel like maybe sort of another semi-personal one, not sure, but also I'm not going to be going into detail about like what products I'm using and stuff, or else this video is going to be way too long. So if you want to see what I use, either check the description down below if I don't forget to put them in there, or sometimes you can maybe just see. So first of all, let's talk about emotionally unavailable men. You're probably wondering, how did you get to this topic? Well, I thought it was quite interesting to talk, because I literally had a talk with someone. Like, I've been talking about with many people about like emotionally distant, emotionally unavailable people, and it's mostly like men, I feel like. Obviously women can do it too, like, don't get me wrong, some women can also definitely emotionally distant, but I really feel like it's mostly a men kind of thing. I hope the men don't cancel me while watching this video. Like, I'm entitled to opinions, you know? But I also definitely do have like my experiences with emotionally unavailable men. I know there are a lot of people who are like, if people are emotionally distant, I'm not gonna deal with them, I'm out. Like, good for you. I really envy those people, because I found it very hard. Like, and I now gotten better at it because I recognize the pattern. Am I going to talk about this story? Well, I can maybe like slightly brief about it. It's not gonna be a whole ass story time. So like, I remember like my first boyfriend, which I had like when I was 16, 17. I literally didn't know he was emotionally distant until years later. Like, we didn't even date for years. Like, we literally broke it off after 1.5 years. So it was an okay relationship, if you would ask me. Like, it wasn't toxic or anything, but I do really, looking back at that relationship, I really saw how emotionally distant he was. Like, he was definitely not someone I could talk about my feelings, or like, you know, like but the weird thing is, in the beginning, like even before we started dating, he really was like, he was really out there, like, you know, being there for me. He was like, yo, I see what you've been through, talk to me about it. And then he really did, he really was like a very nice emotional support. Like, he really became like my rock to lean on. And I really felt like once we progressed into the relationship, like it sort of became less and less. And then he sort of gave me an attitude like as if he did not want to deal with it. Like, I don't know what switched in there, but the thing is, like, I already knew him for a while, like, because we were actually we were in the same school, we were even classmates, so I already knew him. Should I talk about this? Like, dude, I haven't been in contact for this dude for like 8 years, so I bet he also forgot about my existence anyway. So yeah, so like, based on, obviously, when I got into a relationship with him, I really got to see a whole different side of him. Well, not, it's not like he turned a complete 180, absolutely not, but like, obviously when you get into a relationship with someone, before you started out as like friends, or but even like, I also feel like he was so emotionally distant in a sense that, like, is it me, or like, I really have something like, if I am in a relationship with someone, I also wanted to have like, not just, you know, the love part and intimate stuff and stuff like that, but also like, I really want to feel that that person's like my best friend. Like, you know how we like can talk about everything, have the most nicest big fun together, like really sort of best friends. And then that extra, like, I also had relationships like that, and those I think were like the best relationships I had, like the ones where we could also literally act like best friends. And I actually didn't have that with my first relationship. Like, we were friends, and like I mentioned, like, he really was like, you know, supporting me emotionally and really there for me. But it really became less and less when we actually got into the relationship. Oh, and that's what I want to say, like, once I like started to get to know him as like a boyfriend rather than a friend, I also started to know like more things, you know, about like private life, as like family and like home situation. And that's where, obviously, I'm not gonna spill it all here because it's not my thing to say on the internet. So like, just looking at like how and what he went through as a kid and stuff, it was definitely a daddy issues thing. So I could really see where it came from. And yeah, I could also sort of maybe go personal in about my stuff, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that here. And I actually, yeah, so that's basically really the story, like how I first, like, my first experience with emotionally distant men. And then the second one, well, actually not second, I had like multiple. I need to fix my hair, hold on. My middle part is gone everywhere. Like, and then I mostly also had like situations where like, also definitely men who only were looking for like, you know, physical stuff, and like emotionally they literally did not care about you as a person at all. Like, I also have men like that in my life, and I obviously definitely ran away after that. Because now I'm literally like, if you're gonna be like that, and if you're constantly, you know, gonna like keep invalidating my feelings, because let me tell you guys about this one person. I'm gonna keep it briefly because I don't want to talk about emotionally distant men the entire time in this video. I don't want to do that. Maybe I can also do that another time. But there was this one guy, like another great example. I was like talking to him like last year. The thing was like, he wasn't interested in me in that way, if that makes sense. Like, but I also wasn't really either. Okay, not gonna lie, a few years ago I did like have the biggest crush on this dude, but I'm actually glad it's over. So once we were in contact again like last year, I really didn't have any like romantic feelings anyway. Yeah, so I thought we were like just, you know, friends, and like, but he also constantly kept giving me like mixed signals, like, do you want me or do you not want me? Like, I know I mentioned earlier like I wasn't romantically interested in him, but I was like, you know, open for it to see where it would go. Because obviously I used to have like a big crush on him years prior. Maybe it's also that little crush that was still like lingering around, I'm not sure. But like, yeah, so he was also really giving me mixed signals. Obviously only hitting me up on Snapchat in the night hours, which is also the biggest red flag. And then he constantly kept saying like, you know, we're friends and stuff, you can talk to me about anything. But when I was actually like emotionally being vulnerable to him, like opening up to him, he would really like invalidate my feelings and literally be like, well, stop acting like the victim and stuff like that. And also I really felt like I didn't know a lot about him as a person, and I literally felt like I really could see, like, I don't know, I just think like I can see when people have like issues or went through something. I can just feel that, you know. And then I could also feel that with him, but he was totally like pretending how he was very happy with his life, and like, okay, maybe it was true, but I could really see like, dude, you got some issues. And so really, like, you know, trying to avoid being vulnerable around me. Like, don't get me wrong, he did share some things, but like not that deep, if that makes sense. So yeah, like he that guy obviously just wanted one thing from me, which I obviously did not give him, just so you guys know. I did not. Yeah, and now I actually broke off the contact. Well, actually he did, because there was this like this year he actually like ghosted me for like 5 months straight, and I actually was done with him, you know. Like, I was like, sure, if you're gonna be toxic, then I don't want to deal with you. I know I should have blocked him like myself like a long time ago. Oh my god, I didn't know I was gonna share this with the internet, this whole story, but oh well. Like, that's why I like get ready with me's like this, because then I can be like real and talking to the camera whilst I'm doing my makeup, even though I'm not really getting like a response because I'm talking in the camera. But then you can, I don't know, I just like, it's like a sort of mini therapy session, I think. So, but I'm not gonna trauma dump here, don't worry. Like, I know my boundaries, like, but I would also never do that, like trauma dump things here. So nothing against people who do, but I really feel like there's a lot of cons on it, especially if you do that on the internet. So okay, so just basically finishing off the story with the dude, he suddenly deleted me everywhere when I was literally replying dry AF to his messages, because like after 5 months ghosting me, he suddenly turned up in my DMs again, and I was like, what do you want from me? And like, well, I wasn't saying that, but I was literally replying very short answers and like stuff like that, you know. And then obviously he got offended by it, and then he just deleted me everywhere, and I was like, bye, don't have to deal with you ever again, which is good. But yeah, actually a lot of people told me back then to just cut him off. But I basically came to the conclusion, I think because of things I went through myself in my life, like emotionally distant men is something I gravitate more towards to, and I actually do really want to break that pattern. And like, don't get me wrong, I definitely also have like, you know, talked with people and had a relationship with people who were actually a bit more emotionally open, and I really have noticed that like that's what I need in a, like, you know, potential partner. But at the same time, even though those people who were like emotionally open, they also really had a lot of mental health issues on their own. So that's another thing for me, like I really need to find someone who's also mentally stable at the same time, because like being open and vulnerable with your emotions is good, but like, I'm like, yo, I'm mentally unstable here. At least one of us has to be stable. It's not gonna be me, but at least one of us has to. I also really feel like emotionally distant men are also like, especially when they're inconsistent. That's literally what I hate. That like one day they literally treat you like a queen and stuff, and like you're everything to them, and the next day they literally don't give a shit about you. Like that, I also had like people like that, and I'm like, yo, pick a struggle. Like, yeah, we're not gonna do both. Pick a struggle, dude. Like, I just know what I want to get myself into, and if you're just gonna be inconsistent with me like that and just very distant, then like I don't want to deal with you. And I really feel like men who are emotionally distant, they are just definitely not ready to commit. Okay, so I think this is an interesting one. If you guys watch my, like, you know, if you watch my previous Get Ready With Me's or know my vlogs, then you definitely would have known that one of the first things they ask me when they meet me is like, oh, like, are you currently in a relationship? Do you have a boyfriend? Or are you like currently settled right now? Like, you know, engaged, married, all that stuff. And I'm just like, no, I'm not. And I'm actually very content with that, because I've seen like many people, especially when they turn my age, that they're starting to feel like very worried, or they have family members who keep asking like, yo, are you seeing one at the moment? When you getting married? When you popping out those babies and stuff like that? And I'm like, you know, everything just at its own time, you know? Like, I remember when I was 19, I literally said things like, oh, I want to like get married and, you know, have a family when I'm like 24, 25, and look where we are now. Like, I'm 26 and nothing of that has happened. I really feel like I'm currently really thriving. Like I'm feel like I'm in a very good place, like not mentally like per se, but like, you know, just where I am right now. And I literally felt like I couldn't be where I am now if I actually was now in a committed relationship. Like being in Korea and stuff, like I know there are people who like went to Korea while still having like a relationship back home, and I literally applaud them for that. But I've also heard many stories of people who like turned opportunities like these down because they had someone back home. Those people definitely regret like not chasing their dreams. That's also literally a mindset of myself actually. Like I know what I want in life, and I'm not gonna like, you know, compromise that whilst I'm in a relationship. I really feel like the person I am with them really should understand that I have like, you know, my goals, my ambitions, things I want to do, and I'm not gonna compromise that, you know. What else did I think I'm gonna go deeper into it a bit later, because I also really want to talk about things like, you know, being independent and like how I've been on my own. Like I do want to talk about it a bit, but I really see like some people even still around me, people who really do want to be like in a relationship and stuff and go on dating apps and stuff like that. Places like Tinder and stuff, the chances are very slim. Like don't get me wrong, there are people who actually did end up finding their true love via dating apps. Like okay, I hope that what I'm saying does not sound controversial, but like I don't see it as something desperate. Like I really feel like if you want to do that, go ahead. But it's just, maybe it's also because I don't really feel like the need I should be in a relationship like ASAP. Like I said, I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually happy where I am in my life right now. Being single is also very great. Or like obviously, like also since the media is really like glamorizing relationships, it can be also be very confronting for people who are alone and don't know how to be on their own, if that makes sense. I remember like when I was in high school, like I was also really scared I was gonna miss out. Now I'm gonna do my brows. I still literally definitely have to get my brows started. Like I've been doing my brows myself since I've been here. I haven't really found like a nice salon yet that can like threaten them for me, because I always used to go to like salons to get them threaded back in the Netherlands. But I feel like me myself, I've been doing like an okay job by keeping up with my brows, I feel like. So I should applaud that. Also guys, can I say, I've been loving all the nails I've been having since I am in Korea. I literally feel like if I go back to the Netherlands, I definitely do not gonna want to go back to the usual salon I went to. Like don't get me wrong, it's not like that they were bad, but it's just since being here I definitely noticed a big difference in like, you know, the work style of like salons in Korea compared to the Netherlands. But not just with nail salons, just everywhere really. Like, you know, I really like having nice designs on my nails, you know. And the one I've been going to here in Korea, they have such amazing cool designs, and I really feel like in the Netherlands they could never. Because sometimes I really showed pictures in salons of like, yo, this is what I want to have, like a very like nice designs and stuff, but most of them just literally like made it like something else because they were like, oh, I don't know how to do this. I really feel like it's raining outside for some reason. Keep hearing things. It sounds so weird, like hearing things. Like last night I was watching like a scary movie 1 and 2. They were definitely not scary at all. They were just literally just being dumb. But yeah, I really like horror movies. But yeah, scary movie was just one big joke, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, like I said, with my nails, I think whilst I'm here this last one, I'm gonna do one more set, and then it's just going to be done. And then I really need to find a very good nail salon in the Netherlands who can like do designs like this. I know there's this one like Korean style nail salon in Amsterdam, I feel like, because I found this person on Instagram. Yeah, it's definitely raining outside. Okay, I'm now gonna go and powder my face. I think I also talked about this in another video, so I think I'm just basically repeating myself. I definitely am like open for a relationship, but I really feel like in this generation it's just so hard to find someone serious. Like, even you would think that most like people in their like 20s, like say my age, would be like done playing games and want to do something serious. Like, no, I've seen, especially men, like I've definitely seen certain people who still are not done with playing games even when they're like 30 or 35. Like, if you would ask me how I suddenly like changed my mind, well, it wasn't really suddenly. It was also due to many different events that happened like in my life this year, that it made me sort of look differently at relationships. And then I was like, maybe I do want to, like, you know, be open for it. And right now I am, like, I really do want to meet someone, and you know, if they're serious, then I definitely would want to give it a shot. If you would ask like age, I don't really mind, but as long as they are like, you know, serious and have their things, like, you know, I want someone who's already like quite stable in their life, so that they already have like, you know, a career, and or they know what they want. Or like, don't get me wrong, I don't per se want someone with like a lot of money. If you watch my videos or like, you know, just know me as a person, you would know that religion is also very, very important to me. So someone who cannot, like, you know, respect or like the values in my norms and values in my religion, and also where I come from. Like, I know, like, I actually never said on this channel where I come from ethnically, but I also still want to keep a secret of that, and I'm totally honest. Maybe one day in a future video, like, I will reveal it. Like, obviously people who know me IRL know where I'm from, but I just honestly don't feel comfortable with sharing that on the internet. But it's just basically where I'm from and what religion I am. Some values are just very important, and they definitely do contradict with, like, you know, what people in the West like find normal and stuff. So that's why I also found it always difficult to date people who like were very Western or had like very Western values. Like, even though in the beginning they all claimed like, oh, I totally accept you for who you are, but I really feel like at the same time they secretly hoped that I would completely adjust myself to those like white Western values. And I always like refused to do so, because I want to stay true to who I am as a person, like my identity. I'm staying true to that. I am never ever gonna compromise that for anyone. Even though I love that person with my whole heart, if they like cannot accept, like, you know, certain values of my religion or where I'm from, then it's just over. Someone who is not hoping that I would, you know, how do you say it, that they're secretly hoping that I would like completely adjust myself to what they want. Because obviously I do know that in a relationship sometimes you do have to make like compromises to make it work, but that really depends with certain things. Like, one of the biggest like red flags, I feel like, or just, you know, some things people definitely make mistakes in, thinking, oh, I can change this person. I've seen many like instances of like people around me, or just, you know, certain stories, definitely those Reddit stories, like, yo, they are wild sometimes. Like, certain stories where like it was mostly actually the women who felt like, oh, I can change this man. Don't get me wrong, it also definitely happens the other way around. I'm not saying that all men are like that or all women are like that, but sometimes with situations where they could definitely see the red flags were there, but they were like, oh, but I can change him, you know. Like, they really literally think a man that's like a douchebag, they're just gonna make him the most nicest, sweetest man ever. Like, honey, please don't put that energy into that, because you're literally gonna break yourself, if I'm totally honest, if you're literally trying to change him and then you realize there's no point changing him at all. I also want to talk about something which I see many women especially saying. I really see many women saying like, oh, I don't want a younger man, he needs to be older because he's like more experienced and stuff. I do actually want to say that, to be honest, that does not always have to be true. Like, also things when they say like, oh, older men are more mature, like, let me tell you something. I've dated older men, and sometimes they were the most immature people I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I literally felt like I definitely was the more mature one. But they also always say that like women tend to mature faster than men. But I've also definitely met younger men who were definitely very, very mature for their age, something you definitely don't always see. So I really feel like people really need to be careful with saying things like, oh, I don't want to meet someone younger because they're childish, or like, I only want to meet older people because they are like, you know, more mature. Like things like that don't always have to be true. Sometimes I literally found myself explaining to those people like, yo girl, like I totally get your opinion, but what you're saying is not completely right. Yeah, it's like, and don't get me wrong, like people can definitely have, you know, like preferences. Like obviously I'm not gonna bash people who only want to date older or younger people. I'm not gonna bash them. I'm like, you the unit, you know. But if you're gonna be like very judgmental about like the people who do not match what you're saying, if that makes sense, like for example, if you're gonna be very prejudiced, then I'm gonna be like, nah, you need to open up. Like obviously I do get it, if people had like certain experiences it can be difficult to open up, like just like what I mentioned with situations I had with like white people. Like, I'm just gonna be honest, I literally had a one time in my life where I literally said I'm never ever gonna date white people again. But I literally, once I like, you know, got older and like, you know, learned more things, like I am slowly maybe like, you know, ready to be open for that again. But like I mentioned before, I am gonna be very careful with who I'm meeting. Yeah, I really feel like I've been talking way too much about this subject. Like, you know how I was really talking earlier about like I like being single? I really feel like being independent, especially as women, is a very good thing. But and this is something I sometimes actually struggle with sometimes, like that I'm scared that I'm gonna get too independent, that I like don't want to let anyone else in. That's why I'm also really like trying to find like, okay, how can I still be the independent woman I am now, but also like, you know, be open for, you know, a relationship or stuff like that. I know I mentioned earlier about like, you know, how you should have the same values and people shouldn't be trying to change to each other too much. I literally feel like if I would meet a man and he would tell me like, yo, you're gonna be a stay-at-home mom and I'm gonna make all the money, I'm gonna be leaving. I'm gonna run, because I'm not gonna compromise that, because I literally don't want to be dependent on a man. Like, don't get me wrong, women who chose to stay to be a stay-at-home mom, people who did that, like, and are totally like, you know, content with their decision, like, you do you. I literally don't have anything against it, but just personally I would never want to do that, because I literally like working, making my own money, and, you know, spend it the way I like, things like that, you know. I really like that, and so I would like to keep that independency. And I think it also like, I think this also sort of comes hand in hand with like, you know, being alone. Sometimes people ask me and they're like, is it not like lonely to be single? Like, it's definitely not, but don't get me wrong, sometimes at certain moments it does maybe like feel a little bit, because now since I'm in Korea, like you can literally see how couples are everywhere, and sometimes I do get a little bit confronted with it. At the same time, it doesn't get to me that much. Wait, let me just put on some setting spray. I actually low-key need to hurry because there's like this thing I want to follow online. So where's my mascara? If I'm going to be totally honest with you guys, like I think I maybe sometimes mentioned it, but I really was someone who didn't have a lot of friends when I was young. Like, I used to be bullied and stuff, and also because of that, people did not want to be friends with me. I always used to be that like person who sat alone in the lunch breaks, and I also really didn't have friends to meet, you know, like after school. That only changed like when I was 16. That's also basically sort of when the bullying slowly like stopped. And I think because of that, I sort of am very used to like, you know, being alone and valuing my time alone. Like, I do sometimes see people who literally want to see friends and be socially interactive like every single day, and literally refuse to stay at home. And those are the people who actually like maybe went through the pandemic like very hard, if that makes sense. I like being alone. Sometimes I literally don't mind just, you know, staying home by myself in the evening and just having that me time. I literally feel like it's very, very healthy to have that me time. And I also really noticed how seeing my friends every day, like, you know, just, you know, meeting friends every day, like by doing fun stuff and shit, was sometimes just very, also, how do you say it, overwhelming for me. Like, I am like my MBTI is an ENFJ, but I definitely also have a very, very introvert side. So I think in that sense, I'm just very, very introverted. Like, my social battery can drain like very fast, and if I had a long day with people and stuff and it was very fun, then I need at least a week to recharge and just be on my own, you know? Yeah, so I literally don't mind being on my own, but I also really like, you know, meeting people and being social, because, you know, like, we're humans, we have emotions, and like, that's something natural that we want to be surrounded by people and stuff like that. So we cannot do anything about that. We cannot constantly isolate, because even our body and our mind wants to be like, you know, connecting with people. But yeah, if you would, I think that's also one of the reasons what I mentioned earlier, like that I'm totally content with being single, and that I'm not, you know, actively trying to look for someone. Like, I know I said I am like open to meet people and to open up for being serious, but I'm not desperately actively trying to look for it, because I really feel like it doesn't need to rush. Like, I'm just taking it very slow, day by day, and if I happen to meet someone anywhere, whether it be online or offline, it would be great. But it's just, I'm not actively trying to look for it, you know? I actually also think like I'm now in a time of my life that I really need to focus on myself, and I think the universe and like God also knows that. Like, I literally need to focus on myself for now, and just, you know, things like dating, that's also always gonna be fine. So okay, I think I'm gonna put some eyeshadow on my bottom lashes as well. Someone is asking me on my Be Real, like, is your time zone correct? Like, yo, haven't you noticed that I've been in Korea for 3 months? Of course, like, I get different like notifications on Be Real. Like, oh my god, it's so crazy. If you would see my Be Real, most of my Be Reals is me laying in bed, because either Be Real comes very early in the morning, like at 6 or 7. I'm like, why Be Real? Because in the Netherlands, you would not get a Be Real until at least 9 in the morning. And it's also just since my Korean classes are over, I'm still like laying in bed like very late. Like, today I got out of bed at like 1:30, and then Be Real had came at like 1 in the afternoon, and then I was like still in bed. So then either I just wait until I do something fun, or I just, you know, and be like, fuck it, I'm gonna just make a Be Real in bed. I don't care at that point. Okay, let me put on some mascara on my bottom lashes. For those who don't know, I actually got my lips done, and I don't know if you can see it, but I actually really like it. I talked about it in my vlogs, so make sure to check out my vlogs. I remember I always used to overline my lips like years ago. There was this time, like 4 or 5 years ago, where I would always overline my lips, and then it actually did look like I had fillers. But I now like stopped doing that for a long time. And also looking back at those pictures, I'm like, girl, why did I do that? It looks awful. Especially like how I use darker lip liners and stuff and the very light lipsticks. Why did I think it was pretty for some reason? Like, I know it's possible, like, using a dark lip liner and lighter lipstick, but then at least you have to blend it well, which I didn't. So, I don't want to think about it. Now applying my lipstick. And that's actually really the look done. I actually really like how this looks. I know it's like definitely like the same as what I always do here, but I really don't mind, and that's just the look I've been doing like all the time pretty much. So, but if you guys do want to see like more different looks, then I can definitely do that. But since I'm not really like doing tutorials anymore, like, it's just I like to do get ready with me's, so that's why I just, you know, do my makeup just like how I always do. So yeah, so that was it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and of course subscribe. I love you guys, and I see you next time in a new video. Bye bye.